The
Yeah.
fact that you haven't accomplished something yet doesn't mean that you are less than. It just
Mhm.
means that we're ambitious people, that we're a work in progress, and there's joy to have in that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Going in. Let's go. Let's go. Going down, going down, let's go. Let's go. Going down, hey. What's up? We're here live. We made it. Mandy, hello. How
Hi,
are you doing?
Amani.
What's going on?
I've missed you. I didn't see you last
I
week. We
know.
didn't have a
Last week
show
I was
last
in
week.
San Antonio, yes, with smart meetings, right? Yeah, smart meetings. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you about my weekend, but first I want to hear about smart meetings because I was getting text messages and Instagram messages from all the various people that you were interacting with. I was getting pictures.
Yeah.
So, from your perspective, tell everybody what smart meetings is and like what you did there and how it was in general.
Yeah, so smart meetings hosted in these different cities, kind of like a hosted buyer program where different venues and cities can meet with planners on a more intimate basis. And last week we were in San Antonio at this new hotel, the Monarch, beautiful hotel, new hotel,
Mhm.
and that was one of the events. And on, I got there Sunday, and I spoke on Monday morning, the Sunrise Rave. I was on the stage with David T. Stevens, and we talked
Nice.
about music and how its impact on people and how we can elevate a room by just using music. And he talked about the science, and I talked about the music. So he was like the
Nice.
scientist, and I was like the professor. It went very, very well. It was amazing. We had great reception. JT was happy. Everyone was happy. So it was a really, really good program. That's probably why you got so many calls. And so we
Yeah.
did that. We were on stage for about 40 minutes, and it was great. And then afterwards, they had like a team building that I DJ too. So that's where I was last week, and that's what it was.
What'd you do with the team building when you DJ'd it? How did that go? Did Fit City Adventures do
Yeah,
the team building?
Angela was there. She was
They're
hosting
so
it,
good. They're
and
so
so
good.
they had that. They had a section where I was. It was on up the pool. I was by the pool DJing while they were making their own specialty cocktail, and so that's what I
Fun.
did there. Yeah.
That's so fun. We need to get JT on the show.
I'll send her a note. You're reading my mind, so I'm gonna send her a note, and we're gonna go from there.
I'll send her a note too. We'll tag team her. We'll
Yeah.
give a couple days in between, but she'd be really interesting to have on. I'm sure a lot of our
Yes,
audience
you
would
would
like
be.
to hear from her.
Absolutely. Speaking of having a guest on, why don't you tell us who we have the pleasure of talking to today?
Yeah, we have a really amazing human today. She's the founder of Headbands for Hope. She's the founder of Mic Drop Workshop, a best-selling author. She's got a new book coming out right now. She's a podcast host, a Forbes Top Rated speaker, a mom, a wife, a gal pal. She's been featured on the Today Show and Good Morning America, just to say a couple. She's been featured on way more than that. And her companies have helped many, many, many thousands of women and girls around the world. So it is a huge honor to bring to the show Jess Ekstrom. Welcome, Jess.
Yes. Welcome,
Hi.
welcome.
Oh,
How are you
thank
doing?
you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. What an intro.
Yes.
Made me a little nervous. I got a lot to live up to right now, Mandy.
Yes. Take Mandy on the road with you. Take her on the road
I
with you.
know. I'm gonna make that my alarm clock every morning. Like, you are great. I love that.
I'll
Yeah.
record it for you. Just play it when you're having a
Thank
sad
you.
day. It'll be like your smile
Gonna do
mouth.
it.
There you
Gonna my
go.
smile file. You really have been watching my stuff. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no
Now,
problem.
maybe to add on to the introduction, if you were going to describe yourself in 30 seconds or less, in
Okay.
addition to what Mandy just said, what would you
Yeah.
add?
I'm a mom of a newly 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. So I am also losing my mind. And I live in Raleigh, North Carolina, married my college sweetheart. We met on the football fields. I have a 70-pound-pound dog that thinks he's a lap dog. And, you know, I have a 70-pound-pound dog that thinks he's a lap dog. And, you know, I have a 70-pound-pound dog that thinks he's a lap dog. And, you know, I have a 70-pound-pound dog that thinks he's a lap dog. And, you know, I have a 70-pound-pound dog that thinks he's a lap dog. And, you know, I have a 70-pound-pound dog that thinks he's a lap dog. And, you know, I have a 70-pound-pound dog that thinks he's a lap dog. And, you know, I have a 70-pound-pound dog that thinks he's a lap dog. And, you know, I have a 70-pound-pound dog that thinks he's a lap dog. And, you know, I have a 70-pound-pound dog that thinks he's a lap dog. And, you know, I have a 70-pound-pound dog that thinks he's a lap dog. And, you know, I have a 70-pound-pound dog that thinks he's a lap dog. And, you know, I have a 70-pound-pound dog that thinks he's a lap dog. And, you I like any kind of game. Like you want to play Monopoly Deal, ping pong. I don't know what it is. Maybe it scratches that competitive itch that I have, but I'm a game girl.
Okay, we like it. Mandi, I'm gonna turn it over to you to start off, and then I have my list of questions.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go. I already know Amani's gonna go down the speaking questions because he's a speaking junkie, which I love. I love. But
Oh, good. Let's
yeah,
dive
but
in.
I
Yeah.
want to go back to the Wayback Machine. I want to talk about you started Headbands for Hope as a young human. We're going to talk about that for a second, but I want to go even further back because you've been an entrepreneur since you were 12 years old, selling your toys on eBay. So, what was the first toy you ever sold on eBay? Let's first start there.
Oh my gosh. I quickly learned that American Girl doll stuff was the just Rolls Royce of toys you could sell on eBay. So my sister was rudely awakened when she woke up to see that I had stolen all of her American
You
Girl doll
sold her
stuff and
dolls.
sold it on eBay. I'm like, don't worry, I'm gonna split the paycheck with you. No, but yeah, it was a way for me to really start learning business and what people liked, what made them click, customer service, if something was damaged. I remember I sold my guitar because I played it like twice and I was like, this is just not me. And not very musical to this day. And I sold it and then went to the post office with my dad to ship it. And the shipping, cost more than what I sold it for because it's a guitar. And I just remember, like, so I lost money on the sale. And it was just like, of course, was disappointed, but I'm like, never made that mistake again. After 12 years old, I always thought about shipping costs. So it was a cool way to get my feet wet in the beginning, but learned definitely couldn't take other people's American Girl doll. It had to be my own.
Yeah, that's so funny. That just reminds me of my little sister and I, when we were little, we used to like load up our wagon with like, we would take my mom's blow dryer or we would like steal people's flowers out of their yard and bundle them together. And we would just
Oh,
sell their
yeah.
own things to them. Like it was just like which is awful, but they bought it. And that was a lesson in
Young
selling too.
entrepreneurship. I never passed by a lemonade stand. I'm like, oh, this cup is $20. Take all my money. Got it.
Ditto.
Or Girl Scouts cookies. Here. What's your Venmo? Like,
Yeah.
I just always want to support kids doing their own thing because a lot of them, I also feel like don't have that like pause of self-doubt yet. And if they can keep collecting evidence that this is possible for them, maybe that pause will either be delayed or quieter later.
Yeah. And just understanding sales, like just sales
Yeah,
and
for sure.
rejections and highs and lows. And I just love that. Okay. Now, fast forward to Headbands for Hope. Not too far fast forward because you were still young when you did Headbands for Hope. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about what that is, why you did it, and then how you exited out of that at a young age, too.
Yeah. Young and Delulu, which was, I guess, a great recipe for being an entrepreneur. Sometimes I wish I had a little bit the same delusion that I had when I
Same.
was starting
Yeah.
Headbands of Hope. Like, man, I really was just blindly confident and so much better for it than I am now.
Yeah.
But I was interning for Make-A-Wish, and that was when I saw a lot of kids that were losing their hair to chemotherapy would be offered wigs or hats, and they would buy their own headbands, or their parents would buy their own headbands. They'd come into the office or on their Wish and these cute headbands. And I remember thinking, well, let's just find an organization that gives headbands to kids with illnesses, and I'll figure out how to arrange a donation to the office. And then I searched and couldn't find anything. And I think, I just want to star that moment because when we think about innovation or entrepreneurship, it's just over glorified to be this aha moment or the clouds part and angels start singing. But really, it's a lot of times when you're looking for something that you can't find, a shoe that, is comfy and has a heel, and Sarah Blakely started sneaks, or oh, I get so frustrated that like my car key doesn't do this. And a lot of times when we're just looking for things that we can't find is the moment that we actually have inspiration. I like to call it inspiration from frustration. You're frustrated about something, there's usually something you can create that can fix it. So no one was out there making the connection between kids losing their hair, wanting headbands. So again, the Delulu in tow started Headbands of Hope. For every headband sold, we donate one to a child with an illness. And yeah, that company has gone on to do amazing things, donate millions of headbands, do headbands for the NBA, the WNBA, sold in Kohl's, all the shiny things you put in a bio, but it was definitely a personal journey for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Where'd you get the material? Like how did you know about the material? And then how'd
Oh
you
my
know? Because you
God.
sold it to Ulta. Can you remind me of who you sold it to or how that went down too?
Yeah. Well, the headbands were sold, online and everywhere. And if you had more time, I would tell you about how it got started. I would talk about it in my first book, Chasing the Bright Side. I found a manufacturer, at least I thought I did, and wired a loan from a family member for my first round of production, and it ended up being a fraudulent factory.
Oh my God.
And lost all that money.
Oh.
And so had to pivot really quickly, but it was one of those moments where I was like, well, maybe this is it. Like maybe this is a sign that I shouldn't do this, or I'm dumb. I'm too young. I'm not good enough. And then it just shows how bad you want it. I'm like, this wasn't about just putting an accolade somewhere. It was about an inspiration from frustration, like a kid's not feeling good about themselves. And so how big the problem is also how bad you'll work for it. And the problem was big enough for me to work for it. And so we eventually found other manufacturers. Headbands of Hope went on to get acquired by private equity in 2021, which was a whole other milestone / identity crisis. And then, here we are.
It's amazing.
Okay, I think we have something in common that would surprise you. Maybe. Let me take you down this trail.
You wear headbands.
Oh no, not that. That'll be obvious. That'll be obvious. But I love it. I love it. So
Tell me.
You went to NC State, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Go back.
How did you feel when you saw Duke lose in the last seconds yesterday?
Oh my gosh, I was really happy.
Let me tell you why I was really happy. I'm a University of Maryland fan. So ACC.
Yeah.
So we share in common a detestment of Duke.
Yes, 100%. I'm from Olney, Maryland. So I cheer for University of Maryland sometimes. That's so funny. What a small world. I know. It's bad over here. All the blues. I'm red.
Yes. Now, did you go to Sherwood High School in Olney? Where'd you go to high school?
No, I moved to North Carolina before I went to high school. But yeah, I haven't been back to Olney in a while.
So I grew up in Montgomery County of Silver Spring, Maryland.
Oh my gosh, I was born in Montgomery Hospital. That's crazy.
Oh,
world.
So I have questions, many questions. I think Mandy's going to take us back. I want to take us forward, like mic drop workshop.
Yeah.
Tell us about the first time you were on stage, your first mic drop moment.
I like that. So when I was growing Headbands of Hope, I knew I needed people to find out about what I was doing, but I had no money and honestly no knowledge around how to do that with marketing and advertising. But the one thing that I knew I could do was I could just tell the story. I could tell the story of why I started. I could talk about the kids, what I'm doing now. And so it started literally begging college professors for 5 minutes of time before class. Can I just get up there and tell them what I'm doing? Literally, like the inside of a blazer was headbands. I'm like, who wants to get a headband in the back of the room? And then I learned, if I don't just make this about me, but I extract the takeaways that other people can learn so they can start something or they can pursue something, then I can get 10 minutes of time. And then if I can get good at that and make it 30, 45 minutes, an hour, this is something people pay for, which was mind-boggling to me. I remember the first email I got from Marshall University in like 2011 was like, love to bring you to speak to our students. What are your fees? And I was like, what are they talking about? Like, what are my fees? And I was like, let's get my plane ticket and take me to dinner. We'll call it a day. And then I learned that this is a whole industry. And so, really was the way that I was able to scale Headbands of Hope through awareness, through speaking, but also through funding. All the money I would make through public speaking, I would put it back into the business so I could hire more people or increase production without any investment. Um, so, and then that was, going down the road when I discovered just how few women were out there doing this, which led to Mic Drop Workshop. But for a while, I was just pounding the pavement, mostly speaking at universities in my early career because I was honestly, going to one of them before I kind of broke into that corporate space. But it came from just a way to get the word out. And if someone pays me to do this, then
Amen.
let's freaking go. Yeah.
Okay. So my follow-up would be this book, the book that's coming out, that's right behind you. That's coming out in May, correct?
Yes, May 5th. Thank you for asking.
Yes, May 5th.
If you're not watching it, if you're listening, it's called Making It Without Losing It for our radio callers, for our dial-up callers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Podcast listeners, not the video.
Yeah.
This is your second book, I believe, correct?
Yes. I also did a kid's book called Create Your Bright Ideas. So if we count, let's call it 2.5. Yeah.
So third. No. Third book.
Yeah.
This is your third book. This is your third book. Because Mandi and I have both released multiple books, and we love to talk to fellow authors. And I'm so curious, what lessons did you learn from your first 2 book releases that you're applying now? And how is this release going? Because I know releasing a book is monumental. It's a lot of work. Those are my 2. I have more questions, but those are our 2, and I'm going to defer back to Mandi.
I mean, where do I begin? Couple things. One, my first 2 books I traditionally published through HarperCollins. They're amazing, love them. But I felt like the traditional publishing experience was a lot of just waiting to be picked and waiting to, and also just releasing a book on someone else's standards, what they wanted the book to either be or sell, and have to, first 3 months get this amount of sales, and super stressful. As someone who's also just like really cares a lot about what other people think of them that I'm working on. And so for this book, I've met, since starting Mic Drop Workshop, we have over 300,000 women like in our newsletter. We have 5,000 women in our, community, and they all have books that they're launching or books that they want to write. And I'm like, I don't want them to if I'm having a tough time, like with traditional publishing, they're having a tough time with traditional publishing, but their books should be out there, And so this time we created our own imprint called Mic Drop Press. And so Making It Without Losing It is partnered with Page 2. And we have an imprint that not only can I publish my book, I can publish other women's books that are going through Mic Drop. And so I think, like, for me, it's also a reminder that like a book does not have to be like on someone else's list of successful things. Like, I'm really trying to be loose about, if it makes a list, great. If it makes press, great. But like, it's not my goal. My goal is to write the book. And everything else, like, cool, but I'm not gripping it as tightly as I felt like I did my first 2 books. And it's funny because, like, now looking at sales, and of course my platform and everything has grown, but I think sometimes when we want to do more, we have to just care a little bit less, not about the people or the quality of the work, but how we're perceived while doing it, or sometimes how the accolades are while doing it. I think as a result of just caring a little bit less about perception and numbers around this book, it's actually doing better than the rest of them.
Okay. I have more, but I'm going to defer to Mandi because we could keep going down this train.
Amani, isn't that true though? Because I feel like you and I were just talking about that. Like with the first book, you're like, I want to be on all the lists. I want to do it. And we did it, but like at what cost?
Yes.
And then the second book, then it's like, I just want to put some good stuff out there, and like maybe my mom buys it, but like I just want to put good stuff out there, and the results are so much different second time, third time, whatever around, when you care, like you. And I hear you, Jess. You're not saying care less. You're saying like loosen the grip on the accolades and like just
Mhm.
really put something quality out there. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Like I agree. Like, so just for reference, like I released my second book a year ago and I made a list. I made the USA Today bestseller list number 50. So that was great. That was a
Yeah.
really heavy push. It was really draining. And I'm proud of it, but I do understand your perspective, you know, in retrospect, because it's a monster and it helps, but really it's just a start or whatever. So it helps, but it's interesting your perspective. I hear you.
Totally. I mean, I think about my, my 3-year-old now, and I'm trying to sometimes show her and explain to her what mommy's doing. She sees my suitcase. I'll say, mommy's going to speak on a stage and teach people, just like Miss Rachel teaches you and your teachers. And she saw, the box of my books come in and she opened them with me and I got to tell her that I wrote it. And I think about Ellie, my daughter, she's not like, well, did it make a list? She's
Mm.
like, mommy wrote a book, like
Yeah.
it's like the books I read, except she was like, where are the pictures? Like, what? Don't give me this trash. Yeah.
Next book, kid. Next book.
Yeah. She's like, where are the pictures? So I think about it through her eyes too. It's just like, wow, she's just mommy wrote a book and she's not asking how many copies did you sell? What list did it make? And
Yeah.
so I try to see things through her lens and that makes me feel better.
Well done.
I
Well
love
done.
that. Well, I want to talk a little bit about the book, right? So it's making it without losing it, right?
Mhm.
And you have a companion podcast called Making It, right? And
Mhm.
women that have made it. But what does this actually look like behind the scenes? I think so
Mhm.
many people, not even just women, people think that other people that what they considered make it, that it's like always been easy, but
Yes.
it's like so messy behind the scenes. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that perspective from your book or your podcast of like what do you think it really looks like behind the scenes if you make it?
Yeah. And the other thing that, I explore in the book and that is on the show, I always ask people, and I'm curious, maybe both of your answers too, is what does making it look like for you now? And how is that different from your answer 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Because making it is relative. Today, making it is how much more time do I have and the flexibility versus making it 5 or 10 years ago. Um, I remember thinking, I was like, my goal is to have like a Netflix show and, I was meeting with agents and I'm like, now I cannot think of anything I want less than a camera crew like following me around. But that was making it for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, absolutely not. And so part of it is just understanding that our definition of making it changes and also where we're sourcing that definition from. It's really easy to source our definition of making it from the tiny little squares on our phone where we see everyone's highlight reel. But like, what do we really want? So I think helping people understand that is, and giving them frameworks and tools for how do you know what making it is at all. We even have a pre-order perk. It's called your success fingerprint, and it's a GPT that's only like pulling from the book, and it helps kind of create what's your like success fingerprint right now. What do you care about? Where do you want to spend your time? How do you want to spend your days? And so when you pre-order the book, you can get access to that before you even read the book, and it kind of puts it into this 7-day plan for you.
I want
Um,
that. We got to put that in the show notes,
yeah.
Amani. Let's put
Oh
that in
yeah,
the
that's
show notes.
awesome.
Well, I
I
want
I
that
pre-
too.
I do too. I do too.
You
I know.
know,
I
don't leave me
pre-ordered
out.
the book. I think I pre-ordered it on Amazon. Though, where should I go? Where could we go
Yeah,
to take that test?
jessekstrom.com/making it. And then
Okay.
you just fill out the form and then it says say that you ordered it.
Okay.
And then you'll get an email with access to the success fingerprint.
I love
AI
that.
message.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome.
Um,
Go
but
ahead.
yeah, I think that the other thing that I will say around just kind of the messiness of it is I think that ambition can inherently make us feel like crap because we're wanting something that we don't have yet. And it's always going to be around the corner and never where we're standing right now. And so for me, it was like, well, I've done a TEDx talk. I haven't done a TED talk. I've written a book, but I'm not a New York Times bestseller. I'm, an entrepreneur, but I'm not a 8-figure entrepreneur. I'm not on this list. I didn't make, whatever. And so it's no matter what you've done, there's always a deficit. And that's what ambition is it tells you what you haven't done yet. But how can we make sure that we can still be ambitious without feeling like crap? The fact that you haven't accomplished something yet doesn't mean that you are less than. It just means that we're ambitious people, that we're a work in progress, and there's joy to have in that. And so that making it without losing it is about like finding the joy in that like ambition gap instead of just feeling like crap about it.
I love that. And I think anytime you can provoke somebody to find joy in any way is so meaningful. That reminds me of, when you first start dating somebody and then it's like, are you serious? And then it's like, did you say the love word yet? Then it's like, are you getting married? Are you having kids? Oh, you're not having kids. Are you buying another piece of real estate together? There's all these, and it's like that question, there's never ending next question. It's not just with
Never
work.
ending.
It's
not
as
just with
humans,
work.
we're insatiable with other people's next steps, right?
I mean, you have a house, and are you building a garage? It's never ending.
Yeah.
Great word uses, Mandy. Insatiable. Woo.
Yeah, I like that. I should have put that in the title, maybe version 2. Yeah. I'll quote you
I'm gonna
on it.
write that one down.
Take it.
Well
Take
played.
it.
What's up, everybody? I want to tell you and encourage you to purchase my book, my award-winning USA Today best-selling book, The Quiet Storm: A Historical and Cultural Analysis of the Power, Passion, and Pain of R&B Groups. If you want to get one copy, you can go to Amazon, look up The Quiet Storm book, Amani, find it there. If you want to order multiple copies, then go to thequietstormbook.com, fill out the form, order the books. I'll send them to you. I love to share with you my love of R&B groups, the history from the 1950s to the mid-2000s, what happened to all the R&B groups, and what's going to happen next. Buy your book now. Thank you very much. See you soon. Speaking of like this gap, what was the term you used? You used like accomplishment gap, so to speak. Based on your experience working with hundreds of thousands of women, why do you feel people could potentially like sign up for training, go through your program, but many people never take action? And that's a subject that I'm really fascinated with. Why do you feel so many people talk about doing things and sign up and take classes, but never take the action?
Oh my gosh, we have polled people, we have studied, because it's mind-boggling to me that sometimes, not mind-boggling, but it's disappointing to me that so many capable women out there sit on their stories and don't share them. And a lot of times, I think that they believe, just from what we've discovered, is that the confidence will come before the action, but the confidence comes after the action. And so if they're waiting for like the perfect keynote talk, it's not going to happen. I've been doing speaking forever and I still hire coaches. I'm like, oh, that ending fell flat. How can I get better at it? And so I know that my confidence comes from kind of stacking my evidence bank that I can do this. So it is helping women be able to say yes, to apply for the talk, to put their name in the hat, to give the presentation at work, even when they don't feel confident. Because the only way that we'll get there is like by doing. And the other thing I'll say that we've found in Mic Drop specifically is sometimes the accountability of it is tough too. And I call it, once you get a speaking gig, it's like when you have guests coming over to your house and you haven't cleaned your house. Like my house is a mess right now, but I know that if I have friends coming over Friday night, you darn sure I'm going to vacuum and get everything together. The great part about speaking is that rarely people are like, can you speak in 5 minutes at our event? It's 6 months, 3 months, a year. And so you can put yourself out there, get booked to speak, and then have time to create the talk and build the thing that you want to do. So you don't have to have everything perfect before you start putting yourself out there. That's the biggest analysis paralysis I see women falling into that we try to help with. I say that at Mic Drop, our goal is to help you to get your first draft quicker, not get to your like final perfect thing, because it's never going to happen, but let us help you get to your first draft.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you mentioned speaking, and I'm thinking about your speaking business. A
Mhm.
lot we have a lot of viewers and listeners that are speakers as well, professional speakers. What have been maybe the three biggest keys for yourself to grow your speaking business in your career?
Stop talking about topics and talk about takeaways. Anyone can list, I speak about leadership, I speak about productivity, I speak about confidence. What is the actual aftermath of you speaking? That's what people pay for. They're not going to say, we need a confident speaker. We need someone to help our people feel confident in the like sales of this or whatever it might be. And then I would also say, uh, finding one signature talk that I'm good at. I get pretty close to the same talk every time. And a lot of people think that to be a dynamic speaker, you have to be dynamic, like, and I'm going to customize this for every single audience I go to. People want proven. They want, I've given this talk, 20 times or 50 times, and it's had this kind of result. So if you're constantly starting over, it's more work for you and it's less ideal for the client. And then I would say the third thing that I would do is, and that's like, this is part of our philosophy at Mic Drop, is like doing it with other women. Not only is it more fun, it's helpful. When you speak, like if Mandy speaks at an event, they're probably not going to book her again that following year.
Mm.
Not because she wasn't great, but because
Yeah,
they just had her. And
yeah.
so Mandy's like, "Hey, are you looking for speakers for next year?" They're going to say, "Absolutely, I am." And she's going to say, "Great, book Jess Ekstrom." Isn't that right, Mandy? That's exactly what you're going to
That's
say.
exactly what I'm going to say. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yes.
So teaming up with other speakers and not
Yeah.
seeing them as competition, but as business partners, I think is such a huge opportunity in speaking that not a lot of people are doing. So we try to help facilitate that in Mic Drop.
I want
Yeah.
to talk more about Mic Drop Workshop because we see a lot of these, right? Like we're inundated on Instagram and everywhere of like,
Yeah.
become a professional speaker, get paid bazillions of dollars. There's all this, right? But I had the honor of being coached by you. So just for the listeners and watchers, Jess was one of the few coaches, and I want to say few, I mean 5 coaches that Jesse Itzler invited to
Mm.
his very first Built to Speak retreat. And Jess, you knocked it out of the park. I think my
Oh,
biggest takeaway from you, because
thanks.
there's 26 of us in there, so I heard you over and over again say the different things. But the biggest takeaway is you have to remember what is in it for the audience. And I know there's
Mhm.
so many other nuggets that you deliver. So I want to walk through like what makes Mic Drop Workshop different than some of these other fly by nights. Because I see these courses, but then when I talk to people on your team and then I experienced your coaching, I felt, well, this is very different. But
Mhm.
I felt that because I've seen all these things. Like what would you tell other people is different about Mic Drop Workshop?
I'm glad you asked. And you're easy to coach. You are like such a ray of light. But couple things. One, we are only for women. There's less than 30% of these paid keynote spots are going to women. So a part of our mission is to change that and get more women paid spots on stages. The other thing that I know that we do really well is I think that we're the perfect hybrid of storytelling, but also delivering like concrete, hard hitting value to a client. I think a lot of speaking places are like, tell your truth, speak your story, use your voice, which feels very lofty and kind of like you're going to an open mic night, which isn't what we're doing. And then there's some that's like, make $1 million from speaking and sell from the stage and da da da, which feels like too hard. Ours is like, how do we take your talk or take your story and what your lived experience and what you know and make it transferable to an audience who pays for speakers? So we, I think, are just like the perfect Venn diagram for that of storytelling. We call it moment to meaning. What are the moments in your life that have shaped you? What's the meaning for someone who will never be in that moment? And then I would say we're extremely community driven. The thing that I was saying before about how it's not just more fun to do it with other people, it's good business. So we host conferences, in person meetups, and then we have a digital community of speakers where people are referring each other. People host their own events, they're booking each other. We drop calls for speakers in there all the time. We just think like, let's do this together. We sponsored a TED event on Saturday, and 3 of the people on that stage were our speakers.
Oh,
And so
what a
it's
joy
yeah,
that is.
it's really
Were
cool
you
to
proud
see.
mama bear?
Oh my gosh, it was so fun. I think, you know, someone was asking me the other day, like, what are you excited about right now? And I'm like, yes, I love speaking and I love writing books. And I probably shouldn't say this with a book coming out, but I don't care as much about what I'm doing as I care about what the women that I'm helping are do. Like, I
Awesome.
felt so much better watching these women do their talks than I ever did doing my TED talk. And so it's just really fun for me right now to
That's
watch other
awesome.
women and know that I have a framework that works because it's worked for me. That's the last thing I'll say, and no shade to people, but anytime you look at a speaking program, figure out if the person who is teaching it is actually speaking, and getting paid to do it.
Yes.
Of course, Jesse's a great example of this. He's speaking all over the world, but I would
Yeah.
say 80-90% of the programs out there, the person isn't actively speaking.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
hasn't actively spoken in a while.
In a long
What
time.
about
Yeah.
your live event? 'Cause this is new. You have a brand new live event coming up in a little over a month. Tell us
Mhm.
why you decided to bring your, you hit the road with your
Yeah.
speaking coaching.
I'll be honest, I know you both are like, you know, great in live event space. It scares the heck out of me to do live events. So I feel like, you know, I started Mic Drop kind of around the pandemic. And so I had this excuse, I'll call it that, of being virtual for a while. But we help women land in-person events. We should do that. And also when you think about, I mean, meeting you at Jesse's event, it's like so much of that didn't happen, you know, in the program. It happened by filling our coffee or these collision points that you have at events that don't happen virtually or digitally. And so if so much about what we do is focused on community and in-person experiences, then we're really excited to do that for ourselves. So it's a 2-day event in Indianapolis, May 13th and 14th. The first day is all for women, aspiring speakers, thought leaders, or who want to expand their professional presence. It's very tactical. But the second day is more inspirational, motivational, short TED style talks open to the public. And we have Allison Felix, who's going to be there and be our guest speaker, which I'm super
Awesome.
excited about. Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice. We've
Mhm.
come to the point in the show where now we flip the script. So we let you ask both myself and Mandy any questions you
Yeah.
like.
Mhm.
So who are you going to ask the question to first? And what is said question?
Amani, I want to
Yeah.
ask, as a college professor,
Yes.
what's one thing that you can't teach in schools that you want to teach?
That's a good one. It's a good one.
Well, let's see here. Editors, edit this out. No, just kidding. I would say, like I want to do a class. Someone just asked me this today. I want to do a class on like the rise and fall of TLC, the group TLC.
Mm.
They're an amazing example of what can go right in the music industry and what can go very wrong. And I would love to teach that class, but it's not out there yet. I might create it, but like I can't teach that yet in the current format. So that's what comes to mind right away when you ask that question.
Oh, me, I love that. That is really good.
Yeah.
Mandy, when I heard you speak at Jesse's event, you talked about dating your husband.
Mhm.
Tell me, as someone who is trying to stay married.
Yeah. I just said that the other day. I'm like, I'm just trying to stay married.
You
Yeah.
know, I'm not even talking about thriving. No, I'm just joking.
No, I'm with you.
With,
Yeah.
you know, 1 and 3-year-old, we have a business together. Marriage advice for me.
I don't have any marriage advice. I will say this. When you were just talking about what is making it look like, the first thing that came to my head was like harmony in our home. Like I
Oh,
don't
that's a good one.
I don't think about making it in terms of money anymore or work or a job or clients. I just think about like when my husband comes home, am I saying, welcome home? Are we running to hug each other? Or are we like, at you again?
Yeah.
Like to me, like making it, and don't get me wrong, it's not always like bells and whistles and unicorns and colorful things, right? But like I would say 80% of the time, if we're happy to see each other when one of us walks in that door after a hard day, and we don't even have to talk, But if we're just like welcome home and the tone in both of our voice is
Yes.
acceptable, that's, and again, I
It's a
am
tone
not,
setter.
it's
Yeah.
a tone setter. I am not qualified to give marriage advice. I think I explained that in the speech I gave. I am not qualified. But for me, that's a measurement of like,
Mhm.
okay, how is this day gonna look? How is this week gonna look? Like, if I'm at odds with my husband, which we get at odds, like two really strong, smart people, we got opinions, then everything else sort of sucks, right? So like,
Exactly. Like nothing is
yeah,
yeah, I
nothing
love
is,
that
yeah.
advice.
And we I don't know if I saw this Instagram post one time about like this kid eating food in the high chair, and the mom in the background's like dancing and playing music, and the kid's like face is like bright and open and shiny. And I was like we have so much power to control the vibe in our sphere, like
Vibe.
whether,
Oh,
right? Like whatever that
that could
is.
be a book or a talk, control the vibe.
There you
Yeah.
go. There
Yeah.
you go.
Mandy, that's a good one.
Write it.
Write it
So
down. Mic
si-
drop. Yeah.
since you
Mic
asked for,
drop.
since you, oh, there we go. We had one. Since you mentioned advice, I love to ask this question towards the end of the interview, although we have some extra time, so we're going to ask you more. But I want to ask you this two-part question. Number one, if you would go back to talk to Jess when she's leaving North Carolina State's in Raleigh, right?
Mhm.
So you're graduated. You've just graduated from NC State. Give yourself
Mhm.
advice based on what you know now, but then also
Mhm.
go back to before your first speech ever that you were making inside the classroom, trying to get
Mm.
people to buy the headbands, and what advice would
Yes.
you give yourself in terms of your speaking career?
I think it would be the same advice,
Okay.
whereas like no one is thinking about you as much as you think they are.
I love that. That's so true. Go ahead.
And it is like, I'm like, why did I think everyone was like, what's she gonna wear? Or did she use a filler word? Like I think it kind of goes back to the doing more, so caring less in a good way. When I loosened my grip around other people's perceptions, because there weren't any, like, or many. And the people who were judging me or who were critical were rarely people I aspired to be. And so I don't take advice, from people that I wouldn't trade places with. So when I realize, I'm like, oh, everyone is focused on like their own thing.
Mhm.
Everyone is in their own world. It not only gave me compassion for myself, it gave me compassion for other people that I was just running into, and try to give like just the most generous interpretation. If someone is, whatever, has road rage, maybe their like wife is in the passenger seat and she's about to have a baby. Like, just, oh yeah, everyone's got their own stuff. So
Mhm.
it's given me a lot of creative freedom to do that, because if I don't feel like I'm under a microscope, then yeah, let me try something. And if it doesn't work, whatever. And that's happened plenty of times. But I
Right.
think before it was just this feeling of like, what will people think? They won't.
Love it. Well said. Mandy, what you got?
Well, you talk a lot about the balance between ambition and anxiety. And
Mhm.
I'm medically diagnosed severe anxiety disorder. I've had it since I was a kid. It flared
Mm.
up when I went into perimenopause in 2015. I've been there a while.
Yeah.
Um, but so I'm no stranger to anxiety. But when you talked about the balance between ambition and anxiety, I thought that was really interesting. So can you expand on like what your philosophy of the
Yeah.
balance between ambition and anxiety is?
Well, one, you know, I won't say I'm right there with you, but I've experienced that, especially in postpartum. Was diagnosed with postpartum anxiety, and it's just not fun. So I feel for you. But when it comes to work, and I also just want to say there is like a difference between needing like clinical help, which I definitely needed, and a mindset shift. I'm not like, everyone just think
Thank you.
better, everyone needs
Thank you
something
for
else.
saying that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
When someone's like, why don't you just take a deep breath? I'm like, why don't you go out that front door?
Have a bird. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry,
Wow.
Amani.
So,
I don't want to make you
yeah.
blush.
It's already
So
continue.
I'll break it down in two ways that I talk about in the book, which is anxious ambition and inspired ambition. So inspired ambition comes from a place of working to make something better. It's coming from interest or impact. Anxious ambition comes from a place of not feeling like you're enough. And that this thing is going to make me feel like I belong, or this thing is going to make me feel credible or confident. And so when we work like the missing puzzle piece is going to be this thing that completes us, then that's going to feel like really a lot of stakes. But when we work because like we're interested in the puzzle or excited about what it is, I wonder what this piece will be, then that's totally different kind of ambition. So I would say next time when you're working on something or driving towards something, is like this coming from an anxious ambition of feeling like behind, or an inspired ambition feeling like I'm making something better. And sometimes we just got to do things that we got to do, and not everything can be this like live, laugh, love work that we want. But I sometimes give the example of, did you all read Spark Joy, Marie Kondo's,
Oh, yeah.
getting rid of clutter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, she talks about holding things close to your chest, deciding if it sparks joy, and if it doesn't, remove it. But then in the book, my favorite part of the book, she talked about, well, what about the unexciting things like a hammer or a stapler? It doesn't spark joy, but we need it. And she says what to do is just like remind yourself what that thing does. Like that stapler stapled the papers that let me buy my first house. This hammer let me build my daughter's, bookshelf that has all of her favorite books. And so sometimes when we're working from an anxious ambition place of something that we just have to do or have to get done, it's like hold the hammer, hold the stapler. How does this thing that I'm doing connect to an interest or an impact? And if we can take time to do that, then it can be really helpful from switching from an anxious ambition to an inspired ambition.
I'd never thought about that difference before. And I think that's something to really chew on. Like, I think that's something to meditate on or to do a journal prompt on. Like, how many
Yeah.
times a day is this anxious ambition or inspired ambition? And like, can it be transferred?
Yes.
Can you transfer that? Like, can you? I guess that's the question.
Usually inspired ambition doesn't feel like a complete thing. It's just an ongoing, this interests me. This is, I'm building something bigger than me, versus anxious ambition feels like you're trying to get to the bottom of a pile, like a checklist. So another kind of thing you can think about is inspired ambition. I do like connecting the dots, versus anxious ambition is checking boxes. If you're just like, versus like, oh, this is connecting the dots to something greater or bigger, or something that, I'm really excited about. It's just a different feeling.
Okay, oh yeah, sorry, Amani, you go. I got two more, but I'll go. You go first. You go first.
Okay. For my final question for you, Jess, I'm going to borrow it from Jay Shetty.
Okay.
And I want to ask you, number one, what's the best advice you've ever received?
Let me think. I would say the best advice I've ever received. This is going to sound super cliche, but it's my parents, and they never were blatant about this, but their reaction to my big dreams or my big ideas was always like, why not? It was never too logical. It was never forced. It was just like, I brought home a pamphlet one day about working in Disney World. What if I took a semester off and worked in Disney World? Yeah, why not? See what happens. And that was what started everything for me. And so just this like, why not? And let your mind go there for a second, because our mind is programmed to cast out for survival.
Yeah.
And so if you just have a why not and let yourself daydream for a second, that can be really powerful. And they did that for me.
Number two is, what's the worst advice you've heard or received?
Oh my gosh. I would say the worst advice that I've heard or received. When I got the idea for Headbands of Hope, I brought it to this like business professor in school. And he said, at most, this is going to be a fad. you know, like Live Strong bracelets that 1 year from now it'll be irrelevant. He's like, is that, you know, worth it to you? And and I think that when people say like, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail, is the wrong advice. It's what would you still do when you knew failure was going to happen? And so when he said that, I'm like, that's worth it to me, even though he was wrong, by the way, if he's listening. It's like, no, failure is inevitable. So what would you still do if you knew you were going to fail? Like, what is still meaningful enough to you? So I would say, stop asking, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? What would you do anyway if you knew you would?
Brilliant. Mandi, take us home.
Yeah, I'm really chewing on that too. Like, if
Me
failure is
too.
inevitable,
Yeah,
what would you
it's just
do?
gonna happen.
It's
Yeah.
just gonna happen. So, like, what would you do? I love that. You're giving me so many journal prompts. I love it. Thank you.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I love it.
And book titles.
And
Yes.
book title and
What did we
TEDx
say?
talks.
Control the vibe. Yeah, that's you.
Vibe.
Yeah.
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 Vibe the vibe.
Coming soon to a bookshelf near you.
Coming soon. Okay, unrelated to anything. What belongs in the perfect breakfast burrito?
Oh my gosh. This is the best question I've been asked all day. No, I'm just joking.
True.
So I think it's not about what's inside it. It's like how it's pressed.
Oh.
You know, how compact is it? Is it falling apart while I eat it? If it is like a compact press, like not just warm on the outside, but warm on the like not just warm on the inside, but warm on the outside, I'm sold. So it's more about the assembly than the inside of it.
A thick we do a thick tortilla then? I'm guessing we gotta have a sturdy.
Thick tortilla. It's
real
gotta be
sturdy
sturdy.
tortilla.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
gotta be
yeah.
sturdy.
Both of you.
Can't
the
be
next time
soggy.
both
Yeah.
of you are in Las Vegas, I have a place to take you to for the breakfast burrito. I found it, and I think it's very, very, very good. I'm ready to take you both
I'm
there.
sold.
Oh,
I'm booking my flight right now. Yeah.
Amani,
Mandi, I know
give
you're
him a
coming
shout
soon.
out. I know I'm coming soon. Shout it out. Who is it?
Yeah, so it's Neighbors. It's on what's the name of the road? It's Neighbors Cafe. I'll think of the road in a minute, but it's there.
Sold.
Yeah, but that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm in.
A neighbor should be a good breakfast burrito. Now, for the listeners and watchers, I asked that because Jess prides herself on being a breakfast burrito connoisseur. And I love so many people take themselves so seriously in their bios or this or that. And that tagline, I think it just says a lot about you, but it also just reminds us like we don't have to be so serious. And breakfast burrito composition is quite important too.
It's very important.
Yeah.
I encourage anyone who's writing a bio or a stage introduction. It's like, what is one thing you can tell them that they won't find on LinkedIn? Just give them something. Do you have a favorite condiment? Do you like, I don't know, kind of like what we did at Jesse's, like, what are you best in the world at? Like, just, yeah, tell us. We want to know more.
Yeah, I love that. All right, you've spent, gosh, this went by so fast.
No.
You spent almost an hour with us. I feel like we could talk for multiple hours more. How can we lift you up? How can we support you, give back to you like you've given to us this past hour?
Well, this has been uplifting for me. This is awesome. I mean, like I said, I have a 1 and a 3-year-old, so my conversations are very different. So this is great. I would say, yeah, if anyone is interested in Mic Drop, would love to have you, micdropworkshop.com. And then pre-ordering the book is super helpful, making it without losing it. I know it's weird to sometimes buy a book before it comes out. But it's so helpful for the author. I know both of you know this. And today, if you're listening today is the last day you can pre-order the book and get a free headband from Headbands mailed to you. So you can do that.
That's awesome. Right. So making it without losing it, you can get it on the website, jessekstrom.com. You can get it on Amazon, you can get it wherever you get your books, and then Mic Drop Workshop. And I think in the show notes, we're definitely going to put that form, the form to fill out. I think that's super interesting. So that'll be fun. So take a peek for that.
Well, thank you very much for spending some time with us and making an adjustment to the time for me. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course.
Hello, Montgomery County in. I love it. I love it.
Such a small world. We need to go back to Montgomery County. I haven't been there in a hot minute.
Yeah, come on back. Come on back. They'll take you there. So we'll promise to keep in touch and see you. And just thank you for sharing the wisdom. We'll give you a virtual round of applause because I don't have my little special devices with me here. And we'll put you back in the room really quickly. and finish out the show. So round of applause for Jess right here.
Thank you.
I'll make it loud. Snaps. Snaps.
So Mandi,
Yes.
we're all done with another great show. Thanks, Jess, for sharing her wisdom and information with us. Who do we have to look forward to next week?
Next week, we've got another Built to Speak alumni. I feel like everyone just sort of booked their show one after the other, but we have an AI expert, and he's been using AI since AI came out, and he's an AI coach. And hearing him talk is mind-blowing. And I know, Amani, you love AI. So we've got Rob Cressy next week.
I love AI?
Well, I know you have a lot of questions about AI and where it belongs.
Yes.
And I know in the entertainment business, it's controversial. So I think it'll be a cool show.
Ironic.
Rob Cressy.
In all of my meetings today, in quotes, every single person asked me about AI, several questions.
Sure they did.
It was very interesting. Yes, yes. Okay. Thanks again to our guest, Jess. Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast and live stream wherever you watch or listen. We will see you next week. We'll be starting at 1 p.m. on the Pacific Coast time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until then, we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye. See you next time. Thank you for tuning in to Adventures in Business. Don't forget to rate and review our podcast on the platform that you're currently listening it on. And don't forget to share it with your friends and anybody that might be as much of the business nerds as Amani and I are. See you next time for another captivating interview.